Hi there. Well, I wanted to do a video on getting into Pearson and signing up for Pearson since that's where our homework is, and Pearson access is required for the course. So the first thing we're going to do is when you get into your Canvas, it'll look something like this. And what we're interested in right now is this MyMathLab Pearson login information. So go to that, click that. And it'll give you the instructions for getting into Pearson. So I'm going to kind of put this down here a little bit. And what we'll have here is this first one is a link, which we're going to press, and it's going to take us to the Pearson Register site. Right here, this number 4 is our instructor ID, which they're going to ask for. So you can copy that at some point or just remember it. You can also run this off and it'll give you step-by-step on how to access Pearson. And then once we get into Pearson, once we you get registered, I'll talk about a few things on how to use Pearson and some of the help that they have there. So the first thing we'll do is here, this is a link, so you can just push this link here, this pearson.com MyLab. And that's going to take you to this page. And this is the page where once you've registered, you can log in through. You'll be signing in rather than registering. But right now, we're going to register. So I'm going to push this at register as a student. And they're going to tell you, you need 3 things. You need an email address. Well, the email address that you use does not have to be your college email address. It just needs to be an email that you check. It's more important that you check this email than that you have than it's the school email, because I'll be communicating through you when I send out an announcement for the class, like, this assignment's been moved, any type of announcement, it'll go to this email. So I want to make sure that it's one that you check. You'll need on number 2 here, you'll need the instructor's course ID, which I pointed that out. It's on those instructions. It's on number 4 on the instructions. We'll need that. And then you'll need an access code or a credit card or a PayPal. Now, the access code comes from the bookstore if you buy the access code through the bookstore. It's actually cheaper to pay for it here through Pearson. You save a little bit if you do that. So you can either pay for it with a credit card or a PayPal through Pearson here when we're registering, or you can pay with the access code. Now, if you did buy an access code, you're going to have a couple extra steps here. If you did buy the access code, on your receipt is a website. And so you'll need to go to that website and you'll need to register. And you'll type in the code that's on that receipt. And then what they will do is they will email you, maybe within a day, the access code that you're going to need to get into Pearson. So there's kind of an extra step there, and if you did buy through the bookstore, fine. Some people do that for financial aid and scholarship purposes. But if you don't need that scholarship or financial aid purposes to buy it through the bookstore, it is cheaper if you buy it directly through Pearson as we register. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on our registering down here. Okay, register now. We've got our 3 things that we need. And so this is where you would type in the access code. And that access code, I did not copy it, so we'll just type it in. It's right there. Good. I guess I did have it. So it's the Bailey 81436. That's for this particular class. So we continue. I've already got an account, but you guys will be creating an account. So you would press create. And it's going to ask you some questions, your email address that you want to communicate through, username, password, and on here. And you've got to agree 1 or more of these applies to me. And then I do not wish to receive information about other Pearson products. Well, you can probably push that. I wouldn't want to get any information from the Pearson products. Once you fill this in, you can create your account. I'm not going to create another account. I've already got one. So you could create an account. And then that's when it's going to pop up as far as, do you want to pay with an access code right now that you bought through, the bookstore? You also have the option of paying right now with a credit card or with PayPal. But if you choose, though, if you don't have the money right now, scroll down to the bottom of the page and it'll have a 2-week temporary access. So you can push that and they will give you a 2 weeks in order to pay for the access. And they'll warn you. They'll say, oh, you have 10 days left, pretty soon you have 7 days left until you need to pay. But it gives you a little bit of time, and at least you can do some of the homework before you actually pay. So if you don't pay and you did do the temporary access, they'll cut you off after 2 weeks. And it's not that you're going to lose all of your homework. What happens is you cannot access it, and I cannot access everything you've done. And it'll stay there until you pay. So it's not that you're going to lose everything if you don't pay within the 2 weeks, but you won't be able to access it. I won't be able to access it and see your grades. I won't be able to record tests. So, just try to get it paid as soon as you can, or you can pay for it right now with your credit card or PayPal. All right. So once you've done that, you would go back to that page. I'm going to go back to the link here. I'm going to move this over. You would go back to this page right here, and you will sign in now with your username and password, and just make sure it's something you remember. And make sure that when you are registering, let me see. I don't want that. Let me see. Yeah, when you're registering your first name and last name, make sure that you use what the school has for your first and last name, because I transfer your grades, and so make them names that you're registered through the college with when you do that. All right. So anyways, okay. So you're going to come back to this page, and you can bookmark this page, and you're going to sign in now. So when you sign in, now when I sign in, it's going to be, let's see. I have a lot more courses. You're going to probably have one block, and I have a bunch of them. And so here you push anywhere in that box there, you push the box. Once you've signed in, and there we go. It's a little slow. Sometimes, like on Sunday nights, it's really slow because I think all the students are trying to get their homework done at the same time. This is what you're going to see. Now let's talk about a few things here. This blue dot, the blue dots represent assignments that are due on that day. And so I have opened up an assignment. I mean, it's not due until after the 10th. They told me I couldn't do that. I can't make anything due until after the class starts. So this assignment that I have opened is due on the 12th. Over here, you can see 2 weeks worth of assignments. You can make it worth 1 month worth. Let's see, you can do a month's worth of assignments, here. And that was February, but these aren't in until March. 2 weeks is probably enough for your assignments. And I don't, February, March. Okay. So there's your assignment on the 12th. So go down a little bit further, and it'll list the assignments that are due. Here's the name of the assignment. That's where you would click on if you want to work on it. It's due March 12th at midnight. Most of them are due at midnight. I've kind of looked at this before. You have a score 8.33%. You can change that at any time. And so let's say we're going to work on it. So I'm going to go ahead and push this. And let's see. This pops up. Here, I actually did a recording of this before, but the next part I'm doing didn't show up, so I'm re-recording. So that's why part of this is done. But you can leave an assignment at any time and come back to it. You just press save, and you can come back to any of the assignments. You don't have to work out on them in 1, 2, 3. You can work on them in any order. So if we were to click this one, it's partially done, partially not done. Here at the top of the page, it's 1 of 6. And if you want to look at all of them, you can push this and it'll show you that red just means I'm not done or I missed it. And you can redo them by clicking similar question. So if you miss one, it gives you about 3 attempts to get it right, and then it marks it wrong. So you push similar question and you can redo it with different numbers and get full credit. You can keep redoing an assignment and keep redoing a problem, and you can get 100% on every assignment by clicking similar question. It lets you redo it. It grades it right away, which is really nice. The only problem is that you have to type it in exactly what Pearson wants. So sometimes you're thinking, oh man, it's right, but it's not exactly what they wanted, the way they wanted it typed in. So, and then also you can go to different questions here, just in order. We go to number 2, number 3. But okay, we were to look at this question here. Okay, you have not completed this question. Are you sure you want to leave this question now? Okay, so here we're on this question, and down here it tells you on the bottom left hand. Boy, I hope this comes through. The last one it didn't. I have to redo this video, but it says 1 part remaining down here in the left. So there are times when an assignment or a problem may have 3 or 4 or 5 parts, and it'll tell you exactly how many more parts you have left to go. And this one has 1. And you're just going to kind of read through it and do what it tells you to do. Let's see, try the number shown in the pop-up. Pop-ups. We better talk about pop-ups. I'll do that right now. Pop-ups. I'm going to move this. Pearson uses pop-ups, so you have to allow pop-ups. So if you've got your pop-up blocker on, Pearson will not work. Now, one thing when you're registering, if you look over at the top over here on the ULR bar, there are times when a little red flag or icon will show up. If you push that little red icon, it'll say allow pop-ups for Pearson. Always allow pop-ups for Pearson. That's the one you want, always allow. And for some reason, sometimes you have to repeat this 2 or 3 times. If you have a Mac, then you'll just have to figure it out, because I don't think you guys get the little red icon at the top to push and allow for pop-ups. So, you guys are pretty techno, you should be able to figure it out. But you do have to allow pop-ups or Pearson's not going to work, unfortunately. Okay, so here, type in to show in the pop-up. Let's see what happens. Okay, when I press there, notice these templates showed up. So depending upon how your answer looks, if it's a fraction, you press this template. If it happens to be a mixed number, you'd press the second template. If you want an exponent, you press this, and you'll get used to those. And the nice thing is that if you need it, a lot of times it'll show up, like the infinity sign or whatever will show up. Most of the time we'll just be using fractions, and we may use some exponent ones, and then ordered pair. There's an ordered pair down here if you want to type in an ordered pair. So just kind of, you guys just have to kind of work with it, and you'll get used to it over time. You'll get pretty good at it. All right, and so then once you're done, you can always press save, and then it'll save it. You can come back to it at any time and work on it, which is kind of a nice thing. I want to leave it. I want to talk about a few other things here. So over here on the left, I'm going to move my face here. Over here on the left, there's student grade book. If you push the student grade book, it will tell you the percentage that you have in the class at this time. So it's, it's pretty much real time as far as knowing what your grade is. As soon as I get tests in and things like that, you'll be able to see your grade right away. So you don't need to ask me what your grade is. You just look in here in Pearson. Everything we do in this class will be through Pearson. It also here in the grade book, there's a couple other things that are important. It tells you how long you spent on an assignment, like this one Pearson orientation. I've so far spent 12 minutes on it. when you started it. So, and I can see this as well. So I know, you can say, well, I don't know how to do this. And I can look and say, well, you've only spent 3 minutes on this assignment. And I can tell what time, and so can you, what time you accessed it. And, the date you started it, the date you worked it, at the times, all that is available. But more importantly is this review button over here. So when it comes time for reviewing for a test, and now again, this is what we use in all of our math classes. So all of this will help you in your next math class, is you can study for an exam go to Gradebook, that's where we're at, go to this review. If you push the review, you can look at your assignment. I have to move this icon here thing again. And what's going to happen is you look here, you are reviewing your homework. Any work you do will not change your score. So if you go to Gradebook and go to review, you're able to practice some problems without changing your homework score and review. You can review some problems, and you can, if you're struggling with one, you can push similar question and work on that one problem as often as you want to. I'm going to go ahead and click this. And again, they're going to warn you, you're not going to change your score here. So I'm going to continue to review. So they warn you a couple of times. I'm waiting for it to pop up, because there's a couple of things I forgot to tell you about. When you're working on a problem, if you don't know how to do something, you see there's this question help. So you can push this question help, and in this case, it doesn't have anything. It has like ask my instructor, but a lot of times it'll have view an example. So you can view an example and it'll go through an example for you. And on our first assignment, when you do your that first assignment, I will probably go through some help things on Pearson for you as we go through that first assignment on that first video, just to kind of walk you through some of the nice things that Pearson does do. And maybe it's just this question. Let me go to the next question and see if it has more of a question help. Let's see. No, it just asked my instructor. So just a second. Let me go here. I'm going to look at the first question. Yeah, I want to continue. But I want to go back to the first question because that question help button is really kind of nice. Let's see. Oh, yes. So on this one, you can view an example, and it would walk you through. You could view an example, another pop-up, see lots of pop-ups, and it's going to walk you through it, and you press the word continue in it. And as you press continue, it shows you something else. You press continue, tells you something else, and when it's done, you can just press close. But it does go through an example. Also on that question help, it'll have e-text. Not on this one, but on some of these, it'll have e-text. If you push that, it will take you to the page in the book, which is an ebook, on where where you might be able to get some help on that problem as well. So those are just some examples, and I'll go through that more with your first assignment. But another thing here, over here on this bar, this left-hand bar, another thing that might help you other than Gradebook is Video and Resource Library. So what you can do is, we have this shows up here. It's a Video and Resource Library. Let's say you're working on percents. And so you go to the chapter, and it's percents, chapter 7, and you're struggling with section 2. So you go to 7.2. And what you can do is you can select all, and it will give you all of these helps. You press find them. And then again, this is in video resource on that left-hand bar. Kind of scroll down here, found them for you. There's some animation things you can go through, find an amount of a percent. Here are some section lecture, and you can actually look at some examples that they'll walk you through step by step. A person walks you through it step by step. And again, maybe not for this class, but maybe for another class that might help, is to view some videos, especially if you miss a day. If you're taking an in-class math class, If you miss a day, you can always get some extra help here with these videos. It'll walk you through some examples. Only problem is sometimes I'm not really impressed with the way Pearson approaches a problem. I think there's easier ways, but you know, it's better than nothing. All right. So those are some other hints there. I had some other ideas. Let's see, grades. One thing I want you to do is to make sure that you watch the due dates, because I am not linking these assignments to Canvas. So these assignments are not going to show up on your Canvas calendar. On Canvas, I'll say, okay, this week we're doing such and such, but you have to go to Pearson and pay attention to the dates, because it will not be on your Canvas calendar. Canvas is where you'll find links for the videos for the certain sections. I'll have, like, week 1, this is what we're doing this week. Here are some links for some lessons for YouTube, my YouTube channel, if you want. Otherwise, just go to Pearson, look to see what's due, and get started. And again, we'll be doing a couple chapters a week, so yeah, a little bit of homework. And you want to make sure that you do those. And I believe I told you, I'm not sure, I'm going to repeat it, that if you have a MacBook, you cannot use Safari. And because I had that at the top of my list, and this is the second video, because the last one, none of the pop-ups popped up, and so it was really frustrating. So I think that might be it. So I highly recommend that you get your access to Pearson before the 10th, and possibly even try the orientation assignment. And then as soon as I get my videos up on my YouTube channel, I'm going to start opening up assignments. They're not due until after the 10th, but you are welcome to get started on them at any time, as soon as you have access. If you do have trouble getting access, please let me know. Email me. I'm not a real super techie person. I might be able to help you or direct you to where you can go and get some help. The IT people, yeah, they might be able to. Could be a software issue. It could be a Pearson. You may have to contact Pearson. I've had students that have had to contact Pearson to get some help. But we'll get you through, and we'll get you logged in, and you'll get used to it. All right. So again, thank you. Have a great day. And I'm going to get this up and open this up so that you guys can start getting into your Pearson account. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.